I am Stephen Lacey, Managing Editor at Green Tech Media, and I am at the Grid Edge World Forum in San Jose, California, now joined by Raj Pai, who is the Head of Global Product Strategy at AutoGrid Systems. Hey Raj, how are you?
Thank you, Stephen, and thanks for having me over here, and you guys always put up a great show. Great to be here.
Great to see you. Let's talk analytics and software now. Tell us how you distinguish the AutoGrid product from other analytics software on the market today in the utility space.
Sure. AutoGrid started about 5 years back, and our mission has stayed constant throughout that period. We want to provide cheap, reliable, and efficient energy to all our consumers in this distributed energy world. We want to do it in real time and do it at scale across millions of customers and millions of endpoints.
And utilities are sort of facing two pressures. One is the technology pressure. Distributed energy technologies are getting cheaper. The sensors are getting cheaper, all the equipment that makes the grid smarter, and you have rate design pressures and market reform pressures. And so we are dealing with a materially different market today than we were, say, 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, it's interesting because we spend a lot of time talking to utility execs all over the world, globally, right here in North America, in Asia, and Europe. And we see this pattern. There's most of these utility execs are faced with these conflicting and sometimes inconsistent objectives. One is what you described, the immovable thing, that they are asked to deliver reliable electricity to their end customers, which remains constant, has been constant for decades and maybe centuries now. And then on the other hand, there are these irreversible forces that are happening. Renewable energy, deregulation in several markets, customers having choices, being able to set up PVs, install storage. So all these are irreversible, and these sometimes are conflicting. And we see more, some of the progressive innovators, disruptors in this field not waiting and saying, let's do something about it. Let's handle this problem. Let's figure out a way to deal with this. And by offering choice to customers, by being able to manage and optimize the flexibility that's now coming into the grid.
What are some of the more interesting utility projects that you're working on now?
We're working with at least 25 global customers here. I think it's hard to pick and choose who are the most interesting. They're all interesting for us. I can highlight a couple. One project we're working in North America, where we're working with this traditional utility with their trading group that is creating a virtual power plant as such, and has the objective of generating over 100 megawatts of flexible energy resource, connecting their wind, demand response, customer-sited combined heat and power plants, and in aggregate providing them 100 megawatts of flexible resource that they can call and work with, and sometimes monetize also when the price signals are right.
You know, about 8 or 9 years ago, Germany started talking about virtual power plants, and many of the projects that we heard announced, early in the decade haven't really materialized. What have been the problems with the software, the controls that have stymied this space, and what's different now?
Great question. I think there are, in my opinion, the technology has evolved. There's more sensors, there's more data coming in. So I don't perceive it as a technology barrier. Those things, thanks to Moore's Law and all the innovations that are happening, those are solvable problems. I think the bigger hurdle has been regulation and market conditions to provide the incentives for customers as well as vendors such as us to participate in those markets. And those are changing, and those are happening really quickly. And in some markets it takes the form of government intervention. In some markets it takes the shape of consumers wanting more choice. So those trends are happening, and they're happening much faster than what we've seen in the last decade or so.
So you're trying to help utilities stay ahead of those market pressures?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you've been pretty successful at raising venture capital. What are you planning to do with that money? What does your expansion strategy look like? Is it refining existing products, or is it building new layers of applications?
I'd say on the product side, we continue to expand a suite of applications. We have over a dozen applications that range from managing flexibility all the way to core customer engagement to doing efficient operations. We'll continue to expand that portfolio of applications. But also you're going to use our money to expand into new markets, because we look at different geographic territories. It's a global phenomenon. So we have a good presence in North America. We have launched Europe a couple of years back. We're looking at other areas because energy is a global phenomenon and it's happening everywhere. So we want to expand our sales and marketing team also.
Raj Pai, thanks very much.
Thank you.